welcome back to another episode of Curios for the Curious. Today we're looking at a wood carving that is hand painted and is in shape of a reptile lizard and most likely a gecko, although this is probably not to life scale compared to the size of my hand there. It is approximately 19.5 inches from this side to this side. And let's go ahead and flip it over and start there. So as we can see, it has been shaped flat, so it can be displayed either on a flat surface, table, mantle, etc., or can be hung from a wall from various limb positions, either from wall hangers or small brads that would disappear when hung next to these dot patterns. So we can see that is roughly finished and then painted some sort of dark lacquer color, and it has a sticker here, if we get that to focus, made in Indonesia. So if we start on this end, we can see that the head has the two eyes looking upwards and has white dots for the pupils, and then the border of the eyelids are these progressively shaped white dots as well. If we excuse me, look at the nose tip end of the head, we can see we have two colors in kind of a large scale dot pattern. We have a kind of a sky blue, light sky blue, and maybe a powder blue, and then we have kind of a crimson red in between the blue scale spotted area. That continues along this edge of the neck and upper torso down to right about here. So you can see the alternating powder blue and crimson red. And then along the edge of that are a row of white dots, and then kind of angled down towards this forelimb. And then right along here we'll see a progression of multicolored dots. Again, the crimson, then kind of a bright orange row of dots, and then along this kind of spine representation, two rows of white dots. Now what's interesting is this is kind of asymmetrical the way it's laid out, because this progresses kind of slicing off to this direction and then curving up towards this direction. So what I think it's kind of representing is almost a side profile, and this is actually looking at the side of the body. So it's kind of warping the vanishing point, so that might actually make a little bit more sense if we look at it at this angle. Continuing along this edge, which would then kind of be like the belly represented here, we can see the beginning of a pattern of alternating bands below this row of white dots. So we can see it starts off with very small orange dots, then an off-white yellow, the orange again, the crimson red, orange again, and then the kind of the yellow dots, and that alternates all the way down until they start to form these circular patterns where I guess the middle of the belly area You see one single central orange dot, a ring of orange, a ring of yellow, another ring of orange, then crimson red. I don't know if you can see that from the reflection there. And the orange again, yellow orange, crimson red. So again, that alternating band pattern. That continues all the way down to the rear leg area. You see how it kind of has this doming belly effect there. Before we go too far, let's look at the limbs themselves. We can see they are kind of displayed in a skeletal manner with the same lacquer used for the majority of the limb itself, and then the row of white dots, and then each of the toe or phalanges are represented with white dots, as well as being carved to represent kind of the webbing between the toes. Similar on this limb and foot here, and then similarly on the rear legs as well. You can see all the grooves there. And then this one is actually represented underneath the tail itself. So if we look at what would be the upper back area of the torso, we can see after the previously mentioned powder blue, crimson, red alternating pattern, we see the continuation of the white dot, orange dot, crimson, red dot bands that will kind of represent a dome going around the upper back. And then you can see here, again, this kind of dark lacquer color, one central orange dot, and then these kind of triangular patterns of orange dots. Although this one right here, you can kind of see underneath white dots. So maybe they changed their minds somewhere during the painting on what to use as the alternating colors. So if we start looking at the tail pattern, after again these alternating white, orange, crimson dot patterns here, we can see again the start of the powder blue, crimson alternating scale patterns and banding as well, up until around this point here, where we see delineating white dots that kind of separate this part of the lower abdomen from the rest of the tail itself. Then we see kind of a white dot spine all the way to the tip, and then if we look closely, we can see the start of a new pattern, orange dots, a row that goes all the way again down to the tip of the tail, and then these yellow triangles that go on both sides all the way down to the tip of the tail. So a lot going on in this example of the wood carved reptile lizard in a gecko pattern. This has been another episode of Curios for the Curious. Feel free to check out other episodes in this series on artsy type objects. We also do unboxing videos as well as show and tell videos on vintage Milsurp tools and other expanded topics. And we also have a selection of book review, media reviews. Feel free to check all those out. Feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next time.